and particularly what do we mean by action research. So let's begin with the outline of the presentation today. So you could see the outline of my presentation. We will start with the objective of the presentation today, the first part of the presentation. What is the action research and what we are going to do today? What is it we are going to achieve today? So first we have to ask, what is action research? We have to get the clarity of the concept because there are other traditional researchers, right? And why action research matters, why it is so significant for teachers and teaching, particularly effective way of teaching, right? Okay, we understood that. Later we have to understand how to do systematically with the proper framework. So if you say the framework, we have to have a kind of discussion question. That some questions may arise based on the presentation, or you might have brought some question before you attend. So once you clarify the questions, we move towards methods, the proper methods we have to follow. The problem is, as a teacher, we teach. We don't systematically observe and collect data and analyze and report what we have done. So that's the main part of the methodology. Then we move towards reporting findings. It's a kind of proper documentation and report writing. Then finally, we have a small task for you to develop the plan of an action research that you can do after Tanista's presentation. So some examples are there. Tanista will discuss and make you experience with the case studies, what happened with this kind of literature, right? Literature review. So let's begin with the objectives. So by looking at this, what is your objective today? People can write it on the screen, on your message box. Why? Why do you want to join today? What do you want to learn from this? You know already what is research, right? You might have heard or you are interested in doing that. Yeah, people can write what you want to achieve. What is your need? What is your expectation from the presentation today? Yeah, take a minute. What is your purpose? Yeah, could you please write in the in-call messages? Those who are participation, like active participation, I expect. Okay, you want to know methodology of action research? Excellent. Yeah, we know research, but we have to work on the methodology part. Even when we publish papers, people ask, proper framework should be there. Good. Anything else? Anybody else? Clear topic and subject? Yes, Kritika, right. The clarity is very essential whenever we convey the message as a practitioner. Yeah, some more. Yeah, I'm waiting for the response. Somebody could say, what is your expectation? What is your purpose? What do you want to do here? Right. Okay. So we will move towards the. Okay. So Manu says, how can we engage students in research? Excellent. Because teaching is itself a kind of researching, right? Many theorists argue that teachers as researchers. Yeah, good point. Very good. Thank you. Right. You can see today's presentation is focusing on what is action research, the concept of it. Okay, can English teachers be studied through action research? Perfectly all right. We can do that. Why does it matter in teaching? Usually research is done by theorists, scholars, right? Big people, institutes, organizations, UGC or NCRT or policy or some body does the research. as a research report, survey, right? Many people do different way. But what teachers are doing there? Teachers are teaching how to do research. So we have to understand practical frameworks for how to initiate action research as a teacher and how to find the answer or outcome or research of our classroom experiences because we are the actual practitioner. We know the context. We know our own learners. We understand our learners. We spend time with our students, right? So how can we engage students in research? Yeah, good. So these are the main area that we are going to understand now. So before I discuss the meaning of action research, I want you to observe something and construct what do you understand by this. Right. Okay. Xavier has messaged, how could I use this concept innovatively to engage students in active and collaboration? Right. Good. How to engage? You already started thinking as a teacher and researcher. Excellent. Now, I want participants, everybody, to observe this. Look at the steps. The first one says aim and plan. This is what you are asking. So, what is your plan as a researcher teacher? Increasing classroom participation, active collaboration. There is some kind of issue. Why do you think so? Why do you want to increase? Why do you want to enhance classroom participation among students? Definitely there is an issue, some kind of research gap or problem. So the issue is low student response in oral discussion. Students are feeling anxious, hesitant to speak. They are not sure. They are not assertive when they say. No confidence. So you are feeling many students have many aspects like affective fallacy. So emotionally they are not happy to share in front of other students. Or some people are introvert. How to increase or enhance the participation so that meeting can be meaningful and joyful. That's what you are thinking as a teacher. That itself a kind of research question. Then the action. What strategies or methods I can use? Shall I use mind map? Shall I use playway method or role play, discussion, or communicative language teaching, or TBLT, task-based language teaching, or can I use technology? Think, pair, and share. So thinking activity, reflective activity, or discussion, debates, GD. What method you want to use? Which one will work with your students? Okay, this is the method I want to use. Think, pair, share method. How often I have to use? Weekly, once, twice? How long? 2 months, 8 months? This is the plan, proper framework. So once you plan and select the strategies and approaches, you go for data collection. It can be checklist, 10, like no list, it will be items. Yes, not there, mostly there, often there, we have to, so neutral. So you'll be taking the data for 3 or 4 months or 8 months. And you also interact with the students as a focus group discussion or interaction or semi-structured interview with the students or informal interaction. What do you think with the students? Do you feel? Are you comfortable? Do you need support? What exactly you feel? Do you see some kind of improvement? Or how often you are feeling comfortable in answering question or asking question in the classroom? So based on that, we keep changing our methods too. It is possible with action research. Then we get the outcome. The outcome is what we want. We want the classroom participation to be increased. It will be definitely increased, right? That's what may not be also, because this method may not work. Finally, there is something. What is missing here in this action research? I want you to think, I want the answer at the end, because it is not going to end with the outcome only. If it is end with this, it becomes a traditional research. But with the action research, there is something here we have to understand as a reflective practitioner, not just a practitioner. So we have to understand why we have to be a reflective practitioner. So these are the basic things we have to understand, right? Think about this. We will have a discussion when we have a question. Right. So let's move towards the next. What is action research? We have seen some points, right? Plan, action, observe, and then reflect. So based on that, you can understand here. Action research is for immediate problems and solutions for any kind of problem the teacher is facing. They have to collect data and solve it. So in general research, also they do similar things, but the purpose is different. The purpose and focus is completely different here. Now you see it is a systematic, even traditional research is also systematic. It's a reflective process. So what do you mean by reflective process? The first one, identify the problem. Definitely people will do. But in their classroom, researchers may not be teachers, so they may not teach. They don't go to the classroom. For example, Noam Chomsky analyzed the language and understand the generative universal grammar. It is based on the reasonings. But as a teacher, we go to the classroom and interact with the human beings and the authentic data we collected. We know exactly how it works in the classroom. So we plan and implement the intervention with the methods that we choose. Then we observe the data and analyze and get the result, the outcome. So once we get the outcome, now people can think about the fourth point as a reflection. It is for us to improve our teaching and student learning. But normal research, if you see the traditional research, it is not about improving the teaching or reflections. It is mainly to get the result, suggestions, recommendations. It is mainly the theory development or publications. So it will be over. So recommendation for future research. But here, teachers will reflect and become a reflective practitioner. So teach, research, and reflective practitioner. So it is a teacher-led research. So teachers are the researchers. It is very context specific. Each teacher, each institute, each batch, each year. So sometimes you can also do research with a few students also, because it is very specific. What you find the result is for this group. So it cannot be generalized. And it is cyclical. It is a kind of process, continuous process, right? And aimed at the practical change, not for the theory development, but connecting the theories and actual classroom practice so that the change happens, the positive change happens here. So this is the meaning of action research. So if you have any questions, you can think and ask in the in-call message boxes so that I can discuss with you. So what do you mean? What do you want? Any clarity or any comparison? Any particular concept you would like to get the clarity? Please, you can ask. It's very simple, teacher-led, context-specific. It is not context-free research. For example, entire state surveys for India, right? It is only for specific context, like which classroom or which institute where you are doing, what specific problem you are facing. General language problems are not there. Exactly what do you want? Participation or oral communication? Within that, speaking or public speaking. So it's very specific. So let me go to the next slide. Here you can understand why it is more important. Somebody could guess why it is important for you people, for us as a practitioner. We understand what we mean by action research, why it is significant in our life. We already prepare, practice, teaching, then what else we want? We have books, teachers' handbooks, policies, and curriculum materials, syllabus, textbooks, matter, everything is available. We can develop our own handouts, worksheets. Still, why we have to do research? How does it matter? If I don't do research, what I'm going to miss out? Yes, people can answer here. What will come to your mind? I don't expect a perfect answer. What do you think? If I don't conduct action research in my classroom, what I'm going to miss out? Yes, somebody could write something. Okay, Sindhu. Thank you, Sindhu. Saying that students' attitude changes, right? Positive attitude or it affects. New problems come up. Excellent. Very good. This is what I expect. It is not about finding the solutions for the problems because new methods, innovative teaching may also bring some new problems. So it is a continuous process. Yes. So we have to address those new issues. Researching will help the teachers come up with different pedagogies. Excellent. Right. Okay. Problems. I understood. Yes. Individual differences among students. That's why action research is more important. Yes. We can't say same size fits for everybody. So imagine your classroom, 30 students, out of that, 3 faces a similar problem. So we can work on that. Very good. So thank you. So whatever you're replying is excellent because it's adding value to my study and research. Yeah. So let's see. As you see in the title, you could see more specific purposes as well. The reflective teaching and effective teaching. So when we teach, we will be thinking how to improve my teaching. If you don't do self-analysis, right? We teach students SWOT analysis, but as a teacher, we tend to teach only, right? Mostly we teach, we don't document properly and analyze and reflect. So here is to analyze what we do as a teacher and ask questions. Why we have to use CLT or why we have to use specific methods. I used the same method in the previous year. It was working. This year is not working. What happened? Okay, the same worksheet was very effective in the class, other class. Same is not working for other batch. What is the reason? What happened here? So we have to continuously ask questions of the assumptions. Yeah, this works. This will not work. These are the assumptions. But we have to understand why it is working, why it's not working. Then we have to strengthen our professional identity as a teacher or practitioner, right? This goes on continuous improvement because if you don't update yourself, you will be updated. See, so many methods and approaches are there, right? In the history, if you see, the paradigms will change, keep changing. If you don't change, if you don't continuously improve, continuous professional development, then you will be outdated. Then you can't be a reflective practitioner. So you'll be doing the same thing, right? Not to do the same thing, we have to do the action research. And it leads to effective teaching. The outcomes as we expect it will be, you will be very happy and satisfied with your teaching. And it is a real evidence. So you can't say the solutions from the book. You can't find where is the solution. I have some problems. So can you suggest some books for this problem? No. As a teacher, you have to understand your problems, do the research, and identify the results. So it becomes more perfect result for your context. So it helps you to understand the principles as a theory and the classroom practice, particularly your own classroom practice. So here we have to understand this is tailored or very specific solution for our students' needs. It's very specific. So the result will be more meaningful, not too general. So you can understand the values of it, right? I hope you understand why we have to become a researcher. It is very essential that meaningful findings that teachers can do. Researchers will do research for some other purpose, right? But our purpose is to be more reflective, effective practitioner. That's the main purpose, right? Let me go to the next. How to do that? How to understand the framework? Is there any framework systematically we have to do? Yes, we do. If you don't document properly, people ask, what happened to the quality of your research? It looks simple, right? As you teach and then come and take notes, it looks like teacher's journal, not as a standardized research. So first we have to understand the common framework. So you understand how people work on the framework. Framework means what are the limitations, what we are going to do exactly. I can say very specific and be clear with what you are doing. Right. So here you can see the basic framework people generally use in the action research. First, we have to plan. What is the plan? What are the problems actually in the classroom? What do you want to work on? Think about it. You may be having 3, 4 problems. Identify most significant one and start working on that. You have to go for intervention, that is act. Implement the intervention. What method, what treatment you want to give? What kind of innovative methods and worksheets or teaching plans, techniques, what is that you want to bring into the classroom? Something innovative teaching. Then you have to observe the proper protocol, classroom observation, interview, or data collections you can do. Then sit and analyze the result and reflect what happened, what went wrong, what went right. Okay, what was the plan? There is a problem with the tool. There is a problem with the approach. Okay, it's not matching with my study or my context. Which one will be better? So we have to revise the plan and continue our research. So this is possible in the action research. That's a beauty of the action research, right? So you understand the framework here. Now we have to understand the basic key concepts here as we have discussed till now. So you understand what we mean by action research. It is very concrete plan, action to solve a classroom issue, particular issue, very specific to your classroom practice. Then collect data. There is a framework that we have to follow. Well, it is very context-rich research. It is our own conditions, our own classroom settings, situations. So we can collaborate with peers or our colleagues, administrator. So we can also do a collaborative research from different institutes as well. So you understand the basics of it? Right. Now, I have some questions for you. You have been listening and replying to my questions, very interactive participants you are. Some questions for you to discuss now. You have been listening, right? So the first question. We face a lot of problems and issues while teaching. Definitely we face. Even I too face, continuously face. So now think about it. What teaching learning issues in your classroom concerns you the most right now, at present? Think about it. You can note it down in your notebook. What is your concern now? See, we use AI. So I worry about my students using AI to generate assignments. So I have to make in-classroom assignments. So I have to make not a take-home. Even in-classroom assignments, it would be open book exam or test without making it as a traditional exam. But how to make it more creative way to test what we want to test. So this is a basic issue that I am facing. Another, youngsters are not very focused now because of technology, all scrolling up. So morning to evening, whenever they are free, They're taking mobile and then scrolling up YouTube shorts or whatever. Most of their valuable times are wasted. How this technology is affecting students' life. That is what my worry. So how to do that? Yeah, notifications coming on the screen. I think it is in your setting, yeah. So if somebody is sending, right, it's coming on your screen. But my screen looks
Sir,
is
it's
what about oops,
the screen sharing notification which is there. It's just
okay.
above the title. We are not able to read the title.
Oops, sorry, right. Yeah, I understood now.
Yeah.
Less participation. Yes. This happens with my UG students. Even I try a lot, ask them because in their life they're not very clear what they're going to do after this. So PG students are very clear. If I ask question, right, they ask, sir, the future, what about placements? What about the organizations I go? What kind of work I do? So a lot of questions they ask. They ask clearly, why you are asking me to participate in the GD? Why don't you complete the syllabus? When I teach them, note making will help them to read. Okay? They ask me a question. My peers are not taking notes. They understood the readings. How do they do? Teach me like that. I said, everybody has their own style. Somebody reads it and make mind map within it, right? Somebody make visual representation of what they think. So you are the beginner, you start making notes. It is not necessary that you keep on making notes. Till the time you comprehend the text, you use the note making strategies like mind maps or corners note making techniques. There are many techniques are there. Slowly you identify which works for you. So what is the exact problem? So they can work on that. So these are the basic issues at present I'm facing. So whatever you think, please write it down in your notebook. The second one, the absence of critical thinking. Absolutely, yes. What happens? Same thing happens in my classroom too. They go to the field, collect data, and come back and say what is there, what is not there. They will think critically and then reflect or interpret what exactly they found there. No findings, only narration. They go there and come back, write the journal, and then they will submit it. Okay, Pradipta says students procrastinate a lot. Yeah, so they don't do it on time. So they say, later I do, I have time. We give usually 15 days to submit any particular assignment. So I have to tell them, you have to be proactive and how to avoid procrastination. So time management we teach, but still what happens, they don't systematically plan. At the end they do. It is a human tendency that you get a kind of uh, pressure to do the work at the end. But I have to tell them, my students, that if I give 15 days work, complete in 10 days about reading and planning and frameworks, and meet me for the clarity of the rubrics of the assignments, whether you have done properly to monitor your work. Then start writing draft 1 and 2, then discuss with your peers as a peer review, and then submit. But there are ways to do. We have to do kind of research and identify. Right. So here we understand why we think, right? Why do you think this issue exists? What happened? Because each student is prepared differently. They attend the government school, low fee schools, or international schools, or other CBSE schools. So everybody is prepared differently. So we have to understand who does it affect. Definitely students are the victims. So whatever we do. So we have to think how to support learning so that we can also become an effective practitioner or reflective practitioner. Right. The next question is, what small change or intervention could you try next week? So I am thinking to make interactive slides. So what happened in the last class, we were giving a lot of work. Students are writing and submitting, getting grades with the feedback. They see the feedback, they may not understand, they continuously do the same mistake in the next semester as well. So as a language educator, what I felt, I analyzed the pattern of the feedback. I have collected the feedback from the instructors and saw similar patterns. So I planned what is that new change. Instead of giving new task or imaginary assignments as we do usually, why can't we give the task of rewriting the same assignments, implementing the feedback, understanding the feedback? So what I did it, I asked my students to submit your assignments, those who completed already, with the feedback. Ask the students directed towards the faculty, meet, understand the feedback, come back and revise your assignments. I will grade. No, I will give you grade again. So they have to rewrite it. I give twice feedback, then they submit the work. So first time they have worked on their assignments, how to improve their writing. So that is how I have done small intervention. So this is one of the action research that we can do. Next, what data could you collect? Check if it works. Do you want a questionnaire or focus group discussion, interview, classroom observation protocol, or you have some checklist? So different data you can collect it, which should be necessary for identifying the outcomes, not collecting all the data because you don't have time for teaching. We have to be very careful and be specific. What data I want to document, documentation of the data, so that you can analyze the data to find the results. Very important point. You have the data, you have the results. How can you reflect, or how do you think reflection can help to refine your future teaching practices? Do you want to continue teaching the same way, or you know the result? What do you want to do? So here we have to plan the teaching and then teach. At the end, there was a session to reflect on the teaching. So each year, we keep refining the syllabus, particularly the assignments, the way of doing. So a few years back, Corona came, it was online assignment, and it became open take-home assignment. Now AI came, and it become in-classroom text. So you could see continuous refinement happens, right? It's based on the reflection. So these are the basic things. So think about this. These are the questions I want you to think and make notes of it. I give you 2 minutes for you. Make a note of it so that it will be useful for you to fill the worksheets. At the end, I will share it with you. You have to fill that to understand the plan of your action research. Yes, till now, any doubt? Anybody wants to ask some questions? So now you understand the concept of what you mean by action research and why it is relevant for you as a practitioner. And you understand the framework. So now you connect it to your own practice teaching, right? What exact issue you are facing? Why do you think this issue is existing? Why these problems are there on the right place? And what intervention you would like to bring in? For example, you want critical thinking. It's an issue. What method you want to bring? Do you want to bring augmentative method? When you say critical thinking, it is not just a reporting of what you say or what you understand. So we have to develop systematic way of thinking, rational thinking, and bring intertextuality into that. How do you make that? For example, there is a problem of procrastination. How to solve that? What kind of intervention you can give? Okay, you want this particular intervention, time management strategies you want to give. For example, I will tell you, there is a technique, timeline. So they keep the timeline of the same assignments, 1, 2, 3, 4 steps they have to complete it. As in reminder, for example, Moodle is there. We use reminders. What kind of interventions will work? Right. If there is no question, we will go to the next slide. So important aspect is methodology. Now it is very essential for you because till now what we have discussed as a teacher, it is very clear. Now we have to understand as a researcher, right? What is the method? What do you mean by method? What way you can do? What are the interventions you want to take? What are the ways you can control? Without affecting your teaching, you have to do data collection and sit and analyze it. You need the time for classroom preparation and modification of your intervention. Many things are going to be. So how to do systematically using proper methods? When it comes to methods, methodology, research methodology, we have to understand some steps, right? We always talk about objectives and questions, data collection, analysis, and the reporting, right? How to do? So the first part is identify the problems. These are the guiding questions, research questions. Okay, I have a problem that I faced or I observed in the classroom about critical thinking or classroom participation. Immediately, you have to go for literature review. Are there some problems out there? What are the effective practices? What are the effective practices of reading comprehension? What are the effective practices of classroom participation? What are the effective practices of? What are the problems? What about other teachers and researchers they are saying about? Particularly, whether the principles of teaching is available. What are the findings? Sometimes mixed results. Some will work, some will not work. Same tool may work, may not work. People also find mixed results. So we have to understand review of literature or effective practices of other teachers. And then we have to plan our intervention. This is good, this is not good, this is effective, this is better, but may not work. But I like this, but may not match with the needs of the students. Okay, this particular method or approach will work better. Take that as a smart plan. So it is very difficult to say what do you mean by smart plan. It is a fair approach based on the needs. We have to select the approach. It is not based on the expertise I have. For example, I do mind map, right? Mind mapping. It is not very important always bringing mind maps into the classroom. Specific issues, specific tools I have to bring. Then we have to go for application, proper data collection, analysis, and reflect on the question. And whatever the outcomes are there, as somebody has mentioned, that new problems will arise. So how to replan? We should not close the chapter. We have to continuously do that. It's a continuous improvement. So these are the basics of methodology. For example, data collection. These days, people are interested in mixed methods, particularly qualitative research. You could see here, interviews, student reflection, classroom observation protocol and notes, and portfolio and artifacts. You can either mix with the test because whatever students say, we can't say it is authentic. My student says, I read daily 2 hours and I could understand what I read. Only thing I'm not able to reflect in the classroom based on the discussion. But I understood the definitions of it, meaning of it, but I'm not able to connect it with the other text. I'm not able to synthesize. But when I conduct the text, what happens is that they're not able to identify the main idea itself. If they don't identify the main idea, how do they understand the supporting details and connect with other ideas? So I understand by the test. I connect with the attitude. It's overconfident. They think that they understand better. Then I see the participations, whether they regularly participate or take leaves or skip the classes or sessions. And some rubrics you can develop or surveys with numerical ratings as a 5-point scale or some scale. So you can give values to the observations and analyze. So these are the ways you can collect data. Now, very important thing, based on the data, we get the outcome. Usually teachers come and say and smile, say, something worked really well. But how do you prove? How do you support your statement? How do you support your argument? Something is not working. The data will support you. The data will support your argument, strengthens your results. It is not that WhatsApp, students are happy. This time they got more score. No, we have to have proper method, proper tools to collect data. Based on the data, we have to analyze the outcome. So here you can see the outcome. Outcome usually we think students become more confident and more fluent and more willing to speak. Now they are very active, Yes, but as a teacher, we have to do something. Continuously refining the approach. For example, you take role play task. There is something called TBLT, task-based language teaching. You have to understand how to develop a task. When you conduct the task, you have to plan for pre-task and then task, actual task, then post-task. We have to also analyze the task, difficulties of the task, whether the task is so easy and it will be boring for the students. It is too difficult, they lose their confidence. It should be matching with the needs and their levels. So how to plan continuously? So that is how you refine your plan, refine your task. So teachers are doing the continuous work. So this is very essential one. We have to always remember 3 points when we do the research. These are the 3 points. What improved? Excellent. You are happy. What are you going to do with that? What still needs work? What else you have to do? Finally, as a teacher, what you have learned from the research. It is not that always I want to see the improvement in the learners, but in what way my teaching is changed and what else I have to do, right? As a teacher, we are also learner. Teacher as a learner, teacher as a students, or teacher as a practitioner, teacher as a reflective practitioner, teacher as a researcher. So we have to understand what you have learned. What is the key takeaway? It is very important. So now we will think about reporting. Excellent. I found the issues. I found the strategies. I also interviewed the students. My students said many things. Also conducted the test. I have something with me. Data is there. Now, result is also there. I can see the improvement. It is not enough. Very important point is that how to report findings. How to report your findings. It is the biggest task for you. How do you do that? We have to take the documentation properly, framework properly, systematic methods. We have done data collection, analyze the result. We are happy with the result or not happy with the result. But finally, your report will show what you have done. So a very important aspect is this. These are the content, the essential aspect that we have to discuss in your report. As you have seen the title, you have to refine. Even after doing research also, you have to refine the title, the context where you teach, what your focus, the skills focus, then the research question and main objectives and the aims of the research, then the intervention time period, then data tools, findings and reflections or recommendations, and what is the next plan. For example, first you are working on coherence. So based on that, you develop another issue or another problems to expand to narrative writing. So this is how you continuously do the action research to solve the immediate issues, immediate problems. This much is very important. Now you will be thinking, whatever I said, it is similar to what I think, what I know about research. How it is different from PhD, project work, other traditional research. You'll be thinking, now you confused something. It looks similar, same kind of researcher. You want to become a researcher? Not exactly, but teach it as a researcher. Then how it is different from actual research? We have to get the clarity, right? Take a minute. Observe this table. Whatever we have discussed in the blue color, so whatever you have confused with the other concept called traditional action research or traditional academic research, you can see the differences. As a teacher, I go to my classroom. It is context specific. Other teacher goes to the other class. It is very specific to their class. And who is doing the research here? Reflective practitioner or the teachers. The other hand, researchers or scholars or experts will be doing it. We are not experts, but we are teachers and practitioners. We work with the students. So we know actual problem in the classroom. So we are more connected. The next one, the focus is local problems, immediate problems. And the approach is continuous professional development. Plan, act, observe, and reflect. The term framework is short frame. Make only few months and weeks. Don't do 5 years, 6 years. That is not action research. So whenever you take small project, right, take 3 weeks or 1 month on a particular issue, so it becomes proper action research. One more benefit we have as a teacher, that while teaching, you can change something. For example, in the intervention, you can see two groups are there. One is in the experimental group, action, right? Another control group. So when you say it is a kind of lab, it is completely controlled. But in the classroom, we can't make controlled, but little fixed, right? When we have a tool, validate the tool, and you have to use the tool without changing any kind of intervention. But as a teacher, we have the flexibility to change in practice. And practical, it is very clear. As a practitioner, it becomes more practical, not as identified or reason it out, reading something or more statistical based research. The flexibility I have mentioned, in the midway we have change, we can do that. Finally, it is a context specific result. I can suggest my teacher, our friends, my colleagues, look, this particular method worked with me. I don't tell them to use it. I will recommend them, go and try it out. Do some kind of research. Once you try, if it works, you can use it. That's how I have to recommend. I can't say this is very effective everywhere. For everybody, it will be effective. No. And here it is within own classroom. So very minimal ethical considerations are available because we are part of the classroom. But in other cases, some researchers coming into the classroom, they have to have a formal ethical review. They have to write a form and get approval, and properly they have to do the research. So now you can see as a summary of these two types of research, action research is led by teachers for the teacher's improvement and focused on solving real classroom problems right now in the classroom, not as a general problems like problems in the state, problems of this community, problems of visually challenged, or problems of slow learners. So we are not going to use some kind of generalized to bring the theory, identify new meaning, right? Or testing a particular theory. There is a theory, it is used in America. I want to test here. For example, there is something called constructivism. I want to test in my classroom. There is something called communal constructivism. I want to test that theory. I want to experiment. I want to do survey. That is traditional research. So I hope you understand the differences and get the clarity of these concepts. If you have any questions still, I give a minute. So before I wind up my session, I hope you get the clarity of the concepts. Right? If you have some questions, please, I invite participants to write something in the in-call messages. How to make action research more effective? Hmm? Okay. So how your action research more, it becomes more effective? Strengthen your action research by collecting enough data, supporting your argument with the data, authentic data. How do you substantiate your result? I can say my teaching is perfect. My students are learned now. Before they had a problem, now problem is solved. All right. But how do you support? So the data will support. Evidences. You have to find out, identify the particular specific results with proper evidence. So whenever you discuss the result, most of the students are doing this. Look at here. These are the data. It shows it. It proves that your research is more effective. If you don't have data, the data is not very contextually connected. See, I have seen people worked on tribal language without going to the tribal area, without knowing the language and then practices cultural values. They started saying that we have to provide teachers, teachers should be trained, materials should be developed. Too general, right? If it is too general, you can't say it's an effective action research. It should be based on the issues right now in the classroom, identify the problems or solutions for that. Yes, thank you, Sanisha. So she is saying that documentation of the work progress is essential for making action research effective. Documentation, the data, because the data will speak for you. It should be systematic. You have to follow the framework. You have to follow the methods. Yes. So let me tell you the instructions for completing the worksheets before I wind up my session. So you can see here. Yeah. So now we have to do some work, task, but not now. I will tell you how to do. So understand the context, issues, and your timeline and expected change. What do you want to improve? What is it that you believe or you hope? These are the changes or these are the hypotheses, right? I'm using this, so this could be possible. So you have to think about the task. First, you have to identify the classroom problems. Now we have to draft a simple action research question plan. So in this cycle, today, we are going to work with the plan because we understand the concept and plan research proposal. Then we can go for act and observe and reflect within few months or within few weeks. So I will show you the worksheet, what I have done. Right. I hope you can see this. Right, everybody? Can you see my screen? Yeah, thank you. Thank you, darling. Right, you can see the first one, exact problem. The statement, the problem statement. Problem statement is not a problem. It is a research problem or research gap. What exactly the issue is, you have to explain it. When you say students are not participating, how do you say that? Simply you are blaming. Do you have evidence? How many students are facing? How many students are participating? How many are not participating? So you have to give the evidence for the problems. So when you say there are some issues, what are they? Students are doing procrastination. How do you say they are doing procrastination? Whether they are submitting late, they are missing the deadlines, how many are missing, how many times they are missing, even after you advise and give feedback, still they are doing the same. Whether students are saying, today is my presentation, can I do later? Or I have some other work. Still they will say, 2 more days I want extension. So these are the evidences. So you have to say, these are the issues, these are the documents or proper data supporting the problems. The second one, you have to write research questions. How does this particular approach, any approach or techniques, affect their practices of procrastination? Time management, right? There is something called Pomodoro technique. It's a kind of apple. Whenever you do kind of task, the teacher will keep 5 minutes and then they will say, tuck, 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 tuck. By the time the bell comes. So they know how to work. Also, there is some kind of application, online application. If they're taking more time to read or thinking to read, online app is there for speed reading, increasing the speed. Whether that particular app is working. So we have to say, how effective is this particular website or tool to improve the reading speed? You can't say whether it will improve or not. It becomes a yes or no type question. We have to say, how does it affect on something? Next one is setting research objectives. What is your plan exactly? What is your assumption, hypothesis, right? What is the objective to do in order to achieve? What do you want to achieve through this? Then the fourth one is proper intervention. Which method you want to? For example, I have said time management. Why? There are many strategies are there. Why do you choose particularly this strategy? Why do you think this strategy really support them to overcome the procrastination? You have to justify 1, 2, 3, 4 strategies are available. You are choosing this. Why? how it is significant for your problem, how relevant it is to the issue that you are facing. It is very important to justify, give the rationale behind this particular approach or strategy. You can't simply choose. My friend suggested me, this book has this, some other faculty suggested me, I think this is working. Not thinking. You have to clearly pinpoint why do you choose this particular strategy. And then you have to collect data. It can be pre-test, post-test, checklist, or survey, reflections, rubrics. How do they participate? Interviews, structured interviews, semi-structured interviews, focus group discussion, document everything, right? Whether it is daily or weekly, you have to plan your data collection properly. And the tools should be valid tools. You have to validate your tools and collect the data, because the data should be more authentic, not manipulated data, right? Data can say anything, but we have to be very careful while collecting the data. And you can see the expected improvements. It is connected to your teaching improvement. So you can understand why reflection really helps, right? Reflections are very important as a part of action research. Then finally, anything else you missed out, anything how to work, any kind of improvement, what else you want to do. For example, this is the first draft of your action research plan. How to improve your plan? Any remarks here? So you can write it. There are 3 pages are here. So my presentation is over. So if any doubt with this worksheet, you can ask me. At the end of the presentation, after we analyze the case studies, right, we can work on this so that based on this, you can develop a beautiful research proposal to do the action research within few months. Right. Yes, I am done. Any doubts or questions before I hand over the session to Tanishta?